each question. How much warmer is 82 than 40? So, um, can you tell me what the difference is between these two?
Um,
Just
like,
subtracting.
oh yeah.
Just subtracting. Nothing crazy.
42.
42. Yeah, so the way we would answer it is we would say 82 is 42 degrees. We assume it's degrees warmer than 40.
Okay.
Do you think that's how they want you to answer it?
Yeah. Or yeah, I think so. That's what we did in class.
Okay, because I'm not sure how else to do it. The next one is very similar, um, meaning that it's basically the same with just different numbers. Now, 82 is a lot warmer than minus 40. When you subtract this time, you're subtracting a negative. 82 minus a minus 4. Do you remember what happens with double negatives?
It becomes positive.
Yeah, it becomes 82 plus 40, which is 122. So it's kind of the same sentence. It's a rinse and repeat here. It's like 82 is 122 degrees warmer than minus 40, something like that. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Right. Not explaining your reason. All right. So we're looking at number 2 now. Always sort of wondering where they're going with this. It says a company produces screens of different sizes. Based on the table, could there be a relationship between the number of pixels and the area of the screen? If so, write an equation representing the relationship. If not, explain your reasoning. What do you think? I mean, at first glance here, like, does it seem like those numbers kind of all work out nicely with one another?
Uh,
Or does
yes.
anything unusual? So you
Mm,
say yes. You either maybe you're seeing something I'm not. Like, to me, those numbers don't really have any meaning to one
well, yeah,
another.
not really.
Um, it's not like there's a nice, simple increment. Now, the correct way to do this is to actually find what's called the slope between the points, which maybe it does work. I'm not sure. So you said you are allowed to use a calculator in the class?
Yeah.
Okay. Let's look at the first 2 points here. And we're going to calculate the slope between them. So the slope of the first 2 points is 373,248 minus 31,104 all over 72 minus 6. Could you calculate the top number and then the bottom number and then divide for it, please?
Yeah.
I am doing the same. It does work out nicely, which is interesting.
So I'm doing the top two and then dividing it by or dividing that answer by the
By
bottom.
six, yeah, by 66 in the bottom. Yeah,
Okay.
it actually works out pretty nice, sort of. I mean, all things considered.
5,184.
Yeah, that's what I got as well. So now we're going to do the same thing for the next two pairs of points, and maybe just maybe it'll be the same. All right. So let's do it. So that is 544,320 minus 373,248 all over 105 minus 72. So give that a try, please.
The same answer.
Yeah, it ends up being the same. So let's try it one more time with the last two. Hopefully you can see kind of how I'm doing this. Would be 1,555,200 minus 544,320 over 300 minus 105. I'm missing a 5 on that, my calculation there.
Same answer.
Yeah, so there actually is a relationship. So this one is that y equals kx relationship. Do you remember us talking about that previously?
Mm-hmm.
What do you think the k is in this case?
Number of pixels.
Well, the number of pixels is changing each time. So this is x and this is y. K is the thing that doesn't change each time.
The answer.
It's this slope. It's this number right here, 5184. Y equals 5184 times x. So there actually is a relationship. So it said, is there a relationship? Yes. If so, write an equation. It's this y equals 5184 times x is the relationship. Is that okay?
Yeah.
All right. I guess they're just emphasizing like the subtraction of these numbers, maybe. Not sure. Maybe if these weren't word problems, they would seem much simpler. Maybe just the way they're packaged is kind of unclear. Okay, we'll move on to 3A. What is the difference in height between a 30-meter up cliff and say 87-meter up a question.
57.
I think I don't know exactly what I heard, but it's 87 minus 30, 57. I think you said that 57 meters
Yeah.
is the difference between them. Um, so the difference in height is 57 meter, and the distance between them is also 57 meters. All right. So let's try part B. Part B here. A picture could help if you're struggling with visualizing what's going on here. Um, what is the difference in height between an albatross flying at 100 meters above the surface? So they're 100 meters up, and then 30 meters below is an ocean. An ocean is a shark, so they're asking for this distance here. You got to be careful here. It's not 100 minus 30. What is it this time?
30 minus 100.
Well, that
Or
would give you that. I mean, let's look at both of those. The 30 minus 100 gives you negative 70. And those are not right because we always describe the distance as being a positive number. Um, the distance is the addition of these two. You might be wondering, well, why are we adding? It's because, in terms of like the actual numbers, it's 100 plus 30, but you get that from 100 minus a minus 30. That double negative becomes a positive. So
so
what
you're
is the distance between them?
so you're just adding the two?
Yes. Yes.
Okay, 130.
Yeah. Even though they're both 30 meters from the surface, the one below is negative, typically written as negative. So this idea here is that the difference in height and the distance between them is the same. Like they're asking two different questions here, but they're really the same question. What is the difference in height between them? What is the distance between them?
Yeah.
Any questions on that?
Nope.
Okay. Could you do 4A and B before we talk about how to do the other ones, which might be a little bit more challenging, but since they're fractions? You have an answer for me for either of these?
Yes. Would A be 11?
It is not 11. They're both negative, so the answer has to be negative.
1?
Well, one is also positive, and maybe you're just
Or I mean like -1?
okay. Negative one is not correct. So when they're both negative, you keep the sign, but then you look at the numbers as if they are positive and you add them together. So you add, and then it's the negative of that result. What would that
Negative
become?
11.
Negative 11, yeah. Okay. All right, let's give me B. For B, tell me what you see for part B.
43.
It is 43, yeah. Okay. So let's try a couple more of these before we go on to C and D. Let's just talk about how to deal with if they're same sign, which is like they're both positive or they're both negative. You keep the sign, but then you add without the sign. So as if they're both positive. Okay. So for example, like -7 minus 3, these are really both negative. So the answer is negative. But then you add the two numbers without the sign. You treat it as 7 and 3 and just add them without the sign. So what does that become?
Um, -10.
-10. Good. Now the other possibility is like it could be -4 plus -8. Again, they're both negative. So the answer is negative, and then you add the numbers without the sign.
-11.
Try again.
Oh, -12.
-12. Good. Okay. All right. Now, really quickly here, just let me know if, I mean, go ahead and just give me a few, see if you can quickly do some of these. They're not opposite in sign. This is a different rule, but maybe you've already got this down. Could you tell me what -4 plus 9 is?
13.
Okay, so now this is a case where one's positive and one's negative. So you first determine the sign, and you do that by figuring out which is further from zero. Which is further from zero, -4 or +9?
Oh, positive.
Positive 9. So that tells you the sign. Then you take the numbers without the sign. So we got 4 and 9, and you subtract.
Five.
You take the larger and subtract the smaller. And that's if they're different signs. Okay, so what would it become?
5.
+5, yeah. Now what if it's like -6 plus 5? This is the same idea as the previous one. So you first
Um,
decide which is further from zero, -6 or +5.
-6.
So we know the answer is negative. Then you take the numbers without the sign, you take the larger and subtract the smaller.
-1.
-1, good. Okay, let's try a few of these here. All right, could you give these a try for me, please? Do you have any answers for me, or do you need some more time?
Yeah. Would the first answer be -6?
Okay, keep going.
And then 6
For which one? Going down or let right?
down.
Okay, keep going.
And then -6.
For which one?
Top right.
Okay, what else?
And then -6.
All right, so these three are correct. Take one more look at this one right here. So they're both same sign. They're both negative. So the answer is definitely negative.
-12.
It is -12. Good. Right. Let's try a few more here. So please tell me your answers when you're done. I just sort of pause until you just let me know when you've got them.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Would top left be -3? And then -4.
You said -4. Is that for the one down here or the one over here?
Yeah, the one down.
Okay.
And then 4 for top right.
Okay.
And then -11.
All right. So they're correct. Three correct here. This one is not correct. These are same sign over here. So it's definitely negative.
-14.
Is -14. Yeah. What do you think's going on here that it seems like the same sign is throwing you off?
Um, I'm not sure. I just like it just didn't click when I did it.
Okay. Yeah, we kind of had the same issue here in this other one. Like for some reason when they're same sign and negative, you're not quite seeing it. Um, we'll come back to that. I assume we do have to get through all the lessons, so let's deal with that first, and then we'll come back. So 4C, 4C. So when you're subtracting fractions or adding them, you need to have the same denominator. These have the same denominator, so you can subtract the tops. What does that become?
Uh, 1/5.
Nope. Try again. These are opposite in sign. The 2 is positive, the 3 is negative.
-1/5.
Yes. Yeah. All right, good job. So D is a little bit more challenging. There's a couple of ways to do a problem like D. I would first deal with the double negative here. The double negative becomes a positive. So it's really -4 3/8 plus 1 1/4. All right. So uh, the way that I like to do this, and you can decide if you like this or not, is I break apart the first one into -4 -3/8 plus 1 plus a fourth. So if it's got a negative in front of it, they both become negative or subtraction. If it's got a plus, it becomes, plus or addition here. Is that reasonable?
Yeah.
So you then combine like, okay, what's -4 plus 1? Well, that becomes -3. But then you've got, and I'll just do that off to the side here, you've got -3/8 plus 1/4. Those do not have a common denominator. So how do you make it so that it has a common denominator?
Um,
Or what is the common denominator?
4.
That you generally can't go smaller. So you generally have to make the smaller one in the direction of the larger. Have you guys done much with fractions this year?
No.
Okay. So the common denominator is 8. So how do you go from 4 to 8? What do you multiply 4 by to get to 8?
2.
2. So you're going to multiply the top and the bottom by 2. That's how you get to the 8. So this becomes -3. That's the same. 1 times 2 is 2. What is -3 plus 2?
-1.
-1. Good.
I don't know
All
why
right.
that took me so long to
That's okay.
process.
You want to get it. You want to get it right the first time. It's bad to be like, well, is it 1/8 -1? Like that's bad. It's better just take your time and get it. But because these are both negative, you can actually just rewrite it as -3 and 1/8 as your final answer.
Okay.
All right. All right. So moving on to number 5, we'll come back and do some more fractions and subtracting and stuff. Uh, look at number 5 here. All right. So this is if you ever see this, sometimes it's like comes at like at certain restaurants, or maybe they're all doing it now. I don't really know, but they're telling you just what the tip would be. So the tip is equal to a percentage times the amount. All right. So in this problem, like for example, they're giving you that 4.89 is 0.15 times, we'll call it X. X represents the total of the meal. All right. Now, do you remember from a previous lesson how to undo multiplication?
Uh, Division.
Division. We're going to divide by 0.15. So you have a calculator handy? Can you take 4.89 and divide it by 0.15?
You said 4.81 divided by 1.5.
It looks like it's 89. 4.89. That number there from the table.
Oh, that's 32.6.
$32.60. So let's do the same thing for 18%. Let's see if that also works. So um, I've got to scroll down here, but it would be 5.87 equals 0.18 times x. You undo multiplication with division. So if you divide both sides by 0.18, we expect x to be the same, but let's take a look at that. Grab your calculator again and see if it is the same.
32.61.
Okay, it's about the same as the previous one. So let's do the last one there, the 20% tip. 6.52 equals 0.2 times x, divide by 0.2 on both sides.
32.6.
That's probably the price of the meal, $32.60. All right, any questions on that?
No.
All right. So to do number 6, we're gonna first just look a lot at polygon A, and we're gonna get the measurements of all the sides. So could you give me the lengths of the left, the top, the right, this over here? Just give me the lengths of all the sides, please. You have any answers for me here?
Um, Jarvis, we haven't done this in like a while.
You're just counting
Yeah.
squares. That's all. So how many is the left, the top, give me the labels here, like the
Um,
lengths for each one.
on the top, would it be 5?
I'm just thinking it's one, like we're just counting one square.
Um,
That's it.
and then on the side 4,
Okay, so that's 4.
and then on the left side 5.
Okay. How about the bottom here?
3.
Okay. What else?
And then on the like below the 4, 2.
Okay.
And then I'm in 3 on the
Yeah, this is just one length of line.
oh
Just you're just counting how many squares are. Okay. Now we can actually go back and look at the question here. Um, so when you scale something, every dimension gets scaled by the same amount. Okay. So like for example, let's say you were to double all these. Okay. That means the one would go to two. Okay. A two goes to four. A three goes to six, right? So all the side lengths have to like go up by the same amount. So like let's look at B and see if we can determine if they've all gone up by the same amount. So you've got to do the same thing here. Give me and do it in this, you can do it in the same order. Give me the lengths of all of these here. Like start at the top. What's the length of the top?
2.
Two. So how does that compare to this number here?
Um, it's 1 more.
Okay, with scale factors or multiplication. So what would you multiply one by to get the two?
2.
Two. Okay. So now give me this length down the side here.
5.
Five. Is that let's go back and look. Is that 5 times 2?
Uh, yeah.
It is, but you just told me it's 5. So like to go from, and I know it's hard to see. All right, let's try this differently. Let's try this differently. Okay, to go from A's top here is 1, and then on B it's 2. So to go from 1 to 2, you're multiplying by 2. You agree with that?
Mm-hmm.
And then on the left here, this is 5. So if you multiply by 2, what should B be? What should the length down the side here be if you multiply by 2?
2.
5
Oh,
times 2 is
10.
10. Is this 10?
No.
No. So that one's out. All the sides have to be multiplied by the same length. Okay, so let's look at A and C now. Let me just snip those two in together. Okay, so this is 1. This is 1. So what's the scale factor here? What are we multiplying by?
1.
By 1. So now we said that this is 5. Is this 5 over here going down the left side?
No.
It's more than 5. I don't know what it is. So
7.
that one. Yeah, it's 7. That one's out. Okay, so let's do the same thing. Are you getting kind of understanding what we're trying to do here?
Yeah.
All right, let's look at letter D. All right, so letter D here. All right, so it went from 1 to 2. So what are we multiplying by?
2.
It's 2. So this is 5. So we really hope that this is 10. Can you look and see if that's 10?
Yeah, it's 10.
It is 10. Okay, so that's good. This was 4. So is this 8?
Yes.
Looking pretty good. 2, and then is this 4?
Yeah.
3, is that 6?
Yes.
And then 1, and then
2.
2. So there it is. Any questions on that?
No.
Okay. Let's go back to adding and subtracting positive and negative numbers. So let's just do a few examples. What's -1 plus 5 minus 6? Okay. So let's do this problem in pieces here. Uh, look at the first two. Are they same sign or opposite in sign?
Opposite.
Opposite in sign. So that means that the one that's further from 0, the 5 in this case, is the um, sign of the answer. So you know it's positive. And then you take 5 and subtract the smaller number 1 without the sign. So what does this become?
Um, 4.
4. And then you bring this -6 down. So it's 4 minus 6. What does that become?
Uh,
The same as for one positive, one negative. So you first determine the
neg
sign
-2.
is -2. Yeah. Okay. All right, let's try them here. -9 minus 3 plus 2. So first two here are same sign. What does that become?
-12.
-12 plus 2. So now they're opposite in sign.
Um, -10.
Is -10. Good. Very good. All right. So a little bit on fractions here. What would -1/4 plus 1/8 be? Okay. And like we talked about, they have to have a common denominator. So the first thing you try or you hope for is like, does that first number go into the second number, that second number go into the first one? In this case, 4 goes into 8. So that tells you the common denominator. All right. So you can just bring the one down from the 1/8. That's pretty standard. But how do you go from 4 to 8? What do you multiply by to get 8?
2.
2. So what is -1 times 2?
Um,
So you multiply -1
um,
times 2. Yep.
yeah, -2.
-2. So what is -2 over 8 plus 1 over 8? What does that become?
Um, uh, -1/8.
They're opposite in sign, so you figure out which one is further from 0, and then that tells you the sign. You take the larger, subtract the smaller. Very good. Okay, so here's one for you to try. -5 over 6 plus 2/3. Give that a try, please. It's a lot like the previous one. Any questions on how to do this?
No. -1/6.
That's correct. Very good. All right, good job. Okay, let's try one more. -7/10 plus 1/2.
-1/5.
Yeah, good job. And you even reduced the fraction. Very good. All right, we're going to stop there for today. Fantastic job. Sometimes it's tough going from the short